take the acreage of the property, multiply that by 100, you got your price. 0.16 times 100 is $16.
And the reason for that is in maintenance, you're predominantly selling time.
All right, one factor is what are the rates in your area?
Hey, my name's Cody Owen. I'm a coach here at the Freedom Group, and I just wanted to let you know that I started a landscaping company when I was 20 years old, didn't know what the heck I was doing, and immediately became a workapreneur. But I got some incredible training, and I transformed my rink-a-dink little business into a serious company that I ended up selling to a UPS truck driver, and I've been traveling with my family around the country and the world ever since. So, after taking a little break, I've come back to the industry, and I'm looking for people to help. I'm looking for people that I can help build incredible businesses, realize their dreams, and achieve the success that they've always wanted.
All right, let's go ahead and dive into this thing. So we're going to be talking about how to price your mowing service. And I want you to know that this is a totally legitimate training. I'm going to be working to help you potentially make, $100,000 or more off of your existing client list that you have. I've done this myself with my own company and with clients that I've worked with. So you're going to be doing this without adding a single client to your company or spending a dime of your own money. So I want you to pause the video, grab a pen and paper. You're going to want to take some notes. And also, don't forget to hit that all-powerful like button and subscribe, because I'm in a phase right now where I'm looking for people to help, and I'm trying to engage and interact with the marketplace, and I would love to keep working with you. Before I get started, I want to say that I actually have a lot of respect for the people that I point out at the beginning of the video. I know that I'm putting them up there in this context that kind of makes them look a little bit silly, but that's because I'm using what they're teaching to make a point. And I just did a basic search for this keyword, how to price your mowing service. And those were the videos that came up. And they had thousands and thousands and thousands of views. One of them, I think, had 350,000 views. So that tells me that this is a topic that my market is interested in. And I wanted to see what other leaders in the space were saying. And I was shocked to hear what I heard about when it comes to pricing your service. So I immediately went to work making this video, because even though they're not necessarily wrong per se, they're not right either, because they're speaking to a specific type of market that does specific type of work, and we're going to talk about that a little later in this video. And what I'm actually doing is I am speaking to people that want to rise up and set themselves above and apart from the rest of their competitors in such a way that they don't really have any competitors, because that's the only way that you can really win in business. If you're busy doing the things that these people are showing you in these videos, then it means that you've commoditized your service, which is another way of saying that it really has no value. So, this guy here, he was up front and he said, look, this is just supposed to be the fastest way to do this. And he has some other little thing that, he does, and I think he has a minimum. But I wanted to show you how being fast does not mean that you're making money, because he took his acreage, multiplied it by 100, and got $16 or whatever. And obviously no one is mowing a lawn for $16, and that's what he says in the video. But that shows you why that method really is unreliable, because there are other factors that come into play that are going to impact that price and make it wrong very quickly and very easily. And this guy here was just passing along what he had learned as he'd been in the industry. This is what was working for him, and that was just go research what your competitors are doing and use that to figure out what your rate is. Well, there's a big problem with that, and the big problem with that is that you have no idea if what your competitors are doing is actually working for them, unless you are being mentored by one of them, which I was. When I got into my landscaping business, I had the good fortune of meeting a gentleman by the name of Ed, had a company, had been around for 20 years. I was absolutely zero competition to him. And I think he really felt sorry for me and took me under his wing and helped me get set up and running my first year. So I'm really grateful for him. You know, researching what your competitors are doing is important, but basing prices off of it is stupid, because you have no idea what they're doing, if what they're doing is working, and you have no idea if they're making money, and you have no idea if they have a strategy for doing what they're doing. So, moving on. This guy is from Service Autopilot, and that's a company that I love. I use their product in my company, and I absolutely love their software, and I think that everyone should use it. But I was blown away that he's conveying this mindset that you're trading your time for money. And on the one hand, I get it, because, you know, everybody has their hourly rate, and that's all they think about is what they're charging per hour. But that's not the way you make money on a mowing route. And I'll explain a little bit more about that later in the video. So all these people are just doing the best they can with what they have, and they don't know what they don't know. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I have this last little tidbit here for you, that people have what they do because it's what they want in life. So you can just put that one in your pocket for later. But all of those teachers have this thing in common. They're just passing along information about what they feel confident teaching, and they feel they have some success doing in their own business. And they're just passing along what they learned from someone else who was a landscaper or a lawn professional or something. And they didn't learn these things from an entrepreneur. And I learned how to establish my prices from an entrepreneur that understood how to operate a business, not a landscaping company. Does that make sense? So basically what we have here is monkey see, monkey do, monkey teach. And entrepreneurs don't think this way when it comes to pricing their products and services. The one thing they all have in common is none of this has anything to do with why your customers actually buy. And if you don't know that thing, then you're basically throwing darts at a board and guessing what your service is worth. And these people don't know what their market is willing to pay to get this service from them. So guy number one was focused on fast and simple, do whatever it takes to win the bid. And, you know, my first question to poke a little hole in his pricing theory here is, well, what happens if there are two people working the job? You know, his model doesn't account for that. Guy number two was focused on looking at what others were doing, even though they might not be making any money, which is what I shared with you a minute ago. And this guy here, Service Autopilot, believes that you're selling time to customers, and that's not really what you're doing. Customers aren't buying your time. They're buying a result. And you have to understand what it is that's motivating them to desire that result. If you don't understand the desire, then you're commoditizing your business, because the only thing you'll have to compete with is price. And that's the number one problem that small business owners get themselves stuck in, is that they're competing on price because they think it's the only tool they have to compete with. And that engages people in a process that I call circling the toilet bowl of waiting to get flushed into bankruptcy. And so why do people buy mowing service, and what is the right way to price it? And people buy mowing for the same reason they buy coffee. It's the same reason why people are willing to pay $10 for a cup of coffee. And that's, you know, naturally after you add the bagel or the donut or the whatever. And you could make that same cup of coffee for around 50 cents. We all know this. Everybody uses this example about how jealous they are of Starbucks and their ability to make a fortune. But it's, you know, Starbucks understands something that's important about why people buy. And they created the environment in which to encourage them to buy. Okay, and it's that same element that compels somebody to pay, you know, $10 for coffee versus making it themselves, that compels them to buy mowing service that they could just do themselves. So let's do the math on that real quick. According to my calculations, that comes out to being 20 times more than what they could have spent doing it themselves at home. So my question for you is, do you think you might be leaving some money on the table when you're talking to your clients and approaching them about doing their mowing service and competing to win that bid? Do you think you're leaving money on the table? What does lawn mowing and Starbucks both have in common regarding why people buy? It all comes back to status. There's 3 reasons why people buy. That is primary reasons. People are motivated by greed, they're motivated by fear, and they're motivated by vanity. And so another way of expressing vanity is status. All right? And so when it comes to your home, we all know that, say this with me, a man's home is his castle, right? And what's the purpose of the grounds around somebody's home? It's to make their castle look better. That's really what it comes down to. So, I want to find out whether or not you were listening. If you got nothing else out of this video other than this previous slide, then you would have totally got your money's worth out of the video, but I'm not finished yet. So the truth is, people don't care about their lawns, and they don't care how much they spend on their lawns, and they don't care how much time you spend there. And you say, what do you mean, Cody? Of course they do. I lost a job last week to a guy who underbid me $5 to mow a $30 per week lawn. And my response to that is, good, let him have it. And I want to point something out. I said in the beginning, there are different markets. And if you're losing bids, if you're losing jobs, over $5 a week, then that's because you're chasing the wrong market. And I just put this guy in here for emphasis. People don't care about their lawns. People care about their homes. Their home is their sense of status. Do people pay hundreds of dollars for a plumber to come out to their house and confirm that their toilet is plugged without doing any work whatsoever? Okay, are you familiar with this? Your toilet's plugged. Your kid flushed the Lego down the toilet or whatever. It's plugged. You call out a plumber. You know it's plugged. You got to pay him $150, $200 just to come out there, look at it, and say, yeah, it's plugged. And then he charges you more. So that's his call out fee. Then he charges you more to actually fix the toilet. And yes, this happens all day long, every day. So you see, when it comes to people's homes, they'll pretty much pay whatever it takes to maintain what? Their sense of status. Why is it so important that the plumber can get away with charging you $150 for a call out or whatever it is these days, and then charge you additional on top of that to fix the problem? It's because it's embarrassing to have your toilet plugged. You got company coming over for dinner that night. You need this thing fixed now. It's urgent. It's a priority. You don't want to have to explain that your toilet is plugged and your people can't go to the bathroom. All right? So, do you see now why the people that I showed you at the beginning of the video have been playing this game all wrong? And they're teaching others to do the same thing that they do. They're asking questions like, what's the least amount I can afford to do this job for? And how much of my time will the client trade me money for? And when these are the types of questions that you're asking, especially when it comes to pricing your service, you're so far out of the game that it's like you're not even competing. People aren't buying your time. They're not buying your mowing program. Okay, this is high-level stuff that I would normally reserve only for my most intimate one-on-one coaching clients. But I'm going to share it right now with you so that you can start making more money in your business right now, today, because Listen, my friend, you are standing on a fortune right now and you don't even realize it. And that fortune is called your list. And if you are operating your business in a way that you are billing your customers $30, $35, $40, $45 a week, and that's kind of your minimum service range, then you are missing the mark. You are not making money. You're maybe breaking even. You're maybe paying your bills, but you are not creating the legacy that you wanted when you started your business. And you're never going to do that because you've commoditized your business. What does commoditizing mean? It means there's nothing special about it. Wheat in the United States is the same as wheat in China and Russia and Europe and Africa and everywhere else in the world. And that's why it's a commodity, and there's a commodities market, and people pay the least amount they can for it. And in your local market, the landscaper on the north side of town is the same as the landscaper on the south side of town when it comes to just mow and blow type of service. And I get that there is a market for that type of service. Okay, so let the people that are new to the industry, let them go and compete in that market. That's where you cut your teeth. If you've been in business for a couple of years, you need to be moving on from that marketplace. That's not where your future is. I'm talking about promoting your business and elevating and amplifying your company and taking it to the next level until you understand why people buy and what is really special and unique about your company and the way it provides the service to customers and what it is that they really want. You're not going to get to that next level. You're holding yourself back is what you're doing. Okay, so what people are actually buying is they're making a weekly investment to buy back and maintain the beauty of their home and the status that it gives them in their sphere of influence, because the home is a status symbol, always. If it wasn't a status symbol, then we'd all live in huts. But we don't. Homes are different because it's like different cars. You know, there's a difference between a 2007 Corolla and a 2022 Porsche. Okay? They both are transportation. They both get you from point A to point B. Why is the Porsche so expensive? Why do certain people buy the Porsche? It's because it's a reflection that they want all their friends and, new people that they meet to know that they've made it, that they're somebody, because they've got the money to throw down on a Porsche. Okay, a home is about the status, and until you understand how to amplify the home status, people are not going to be motivated to spend more with you. So you've got to change the way that you're playing the game. Okay, and when you finally realize that status is what you're selling in a nutshell, and I know that there are other things that come into people's lives, like they don't want to do it themselves, or they lack the ability, or they lack some sort of resource to do it. Okay, I'm not discounting that. But you got to understand what the root motivation is for a mowing service. Okay, and I learned this when I did a field trip. I went to Disneyland in California for the first time. And this was many, 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 many years ago. And I saw the grounds crews out taking care of the grounds. And they're gorgeous. They were gorgeous. They were stunning. And I was like, oh, I get it now. I understand why landscaping matters. And I'm not ashamed to say that, because I was brand new to the industry back then and I just didn't know any better. Okay, and you don't know what you don't know. And this is my own process of growth, and you're going to go through a similar process. Okay, and when you realize these things, there's not actually going to be a limit for what you can charge for it. So time has nothing to do with it. Your hourly rate needs to disappear. And this is the difference between you trying to qualify to mow someone's lawn for $35 a week versus having people line up to qualify to work with you and paying you essentially anything you want. Why? Because you understand them. You understand their pain, you understand their frustration, and most importantly, you understand their desire. And when you understand those things, price is meaningless. And while your competitors are busy calling each other, posing as customers, trying to find out what everyone else is charging so they can underbid their competition, and fighting over who can do the work the cheapest, you should be looking at them and saying, what's the most I can charge for this? And while your customers are busy kicking tires and your competitors are racing to those customers to see who can lose the most money the fastest, you can just walk out of that dark madness and play a game based on your own rules that you control. So flip the table. In the old way of you doing business, there was always going to be more expenses than money. Why? Because you were trading your time for money, and the expenses will always outpace the money coming in. And every time you're not working, it costs you money, because you've set up a system in which you trade your time for money. And when you trade your time for money, there's never enough time to make enough money. And in the new way, it gives you money to pay your people better. It gives you money to acquire great equipment to do better work. And most importantly, it leaves ample meat on the bone for you to produce better results for your clients. And satisfaction goes through the roof. And when your clients are happy, you're happy. And when your people are happy, you're happy. And when you're making money, you're happy. Everyone wins in this new way. You need to kiss the mow and blow rat race goodbye. Okay, Mr. Cody, that's nice, but what the heck do I price my mowing service at? Well, I want to point out that this video is about how to price, not what to price. But don't worry, I'm still going to talk about what to price, sort of, in a minute, okay? So, I just said that, so I'm going to skip this slide. How to price your service is simple, but not easy, okay? It comes back to this. You've got to know your numbers. Most people don't know their numbers. Most people hide their numbers in the proverbial shoebox, and they hand it to their accountant once a year to kind of figure out whether or not they made any money. And that's not any way to run your business, okay? You have to know your numbers. You have to know your key indicators. And some of the basic, not all, but basic key indicators are, what does it cost you per day to be in business? Okay, most people don't know. I knew how much it cost me to operate my business every day. How much profit do you want to make per day? Okay, profit is an expense. You've got to plan the profit into everything, or you will not make any profit. Okay, and this is the way a business has to be set up. And this is what makes businesses so amazing, is that you create a system where where you put $1 into the machine to run it and you get $1.50 back. Okay, that's what a business is. It's an ATM. It's a money-making machine. And if your business is not a money-making machine, I can help you with that. So, how much profit do you want to make per day? And what's the production rate of your equipment and team? I knew down to the minute exactly how much square footage of lawn my mowers could process. And that was the language that I used, because my mowing crews were like a factory, and their purpose was to produce mowed lawn. So I knew exactly how much lawn I knew exactly how much cut lawn my mowing crews could produce per minute. And it was very, very easy to figure that out. You can do a test in 5 minutes to figure out what your production rates are. Okay, so you need to know that so you can create an average and a model. And what I did is I created a calculating sheet so that once I know my KPIs, I can run them through my calculator and get a price down to the minute of how much time the job will take. And if you don't have this, then you are literally guessing. And you can see here, look, I have this in acres. Okay, but this works. I know some people have, very like rural routes that are very dense, and their pricing model is going to be a little different because they're mowing, 5,000 square feet of grass or less, and they're just bouncing from house to house to house. That's fine. This calculator works for that. But if you don't have something like this and you're just driving up to the lawn and you're like, wow, it's, we got 5,000 square feet, so we're going to convert that to acres and then multiply it by 100, you're losing money fast. That's not going to work for you. So this video has been about how to price your mowing service, and I hope that it's helped you a lot. So make sure, a reminder, the all-powerful like button, share this with your friends because they need to hear this. And here's the thing, I'm talking about lawn mowing, but this is true for any business. You have to know why your market is buying. You have to know whether or not you're speaking to the right people. Okay, you can't just walk up to somebody and assume that they have a lawn and therefore they need your service. You got to speak to the right people. Okay, and that's another skill in and of itself. But this is for any business, and I'm using the example of a lawn mowing service. So I think you can see now why most lawn care companies struggle to make money, and hopefully you will no longer be one of them. And I can't underestimate the value of the content in this video. I've literally spent over a decade of my life learning this, and I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into my education, and I'm not talking about college, okay? So I've put a lot into this. I know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? And I still can't believe that I shared this high dollar info with you for free. So that's my gift to you. But I want you to know that I did it because I'm here to impact people's lives, and making a difference in your life is more important to me right now, because I want to transform your business. And I'm sure that your business is already outrageously profitable, and your employees are rock stars, and your customers are praising your company from their rooftop. After all, you wouldn't be watching this if you weren't 100% dedicated to your company's success. However, if you could benefit from having someone look over your shoulder who has been in your shoes and knows what it takes to go from being shackled to a tyrannical business to building a lean, mean, cash-flowing machine that the community raves about, then you might be the kind of person that I'm looking to help. So I just have a couple of qualifying questions here. Are you deadly serious about making more money? Creating a company that's built to last, and recession-proofing your business, because that's something that we're coming up against right now, and creating more time freedom for you and your family. So if you're ready to talk more about your pricing strategy or other issues that you might be having growing your business, then your next step is to schedule your free 40-minute consultation with me. You and I will be talking directly. You're not going to be going to somebody on my team or whatever. You're going to be working directly with me because I am invested in helping you become successful. So go ahead and sign up now for your free consultation, and let's go ahead and just get to work. You can find me at thefreedomprinciple.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the page and request a free 40-minute strategy session. So I look forward to talking to you soon.